Welcome back to the Bootroom Podcast. I'm joined by Harry. How are you doing, Harry?
Good, thank you, yeah.
And we are delighted to welcome Chris Moore, current Hanwell Town manager. Thanks for coming on, Chris.
No problem.
So, Chris, let's kind of get started. What was like your early memories of football when you was younger?
Probably my very first memory was playing actual football. Started off in a five-a-side team in Lily Road in Fulham. Grew up in a really rough area, Laverick Grove, where football was a language. Football was a language, and it's what's up?
We're from Laverick Grove
ourselves.
You're from
Laverick Grove, okay, yeah,
like
okay.
Peabody's Estate, Dalgarno.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm Latimer Road, and
Latimer Road.
Yeah, so I'm Latimer Road. So grew up in went to Thomas Jones on Laverick Grove School, Thomas Jones School.
You went to that.
You went to the same school, yeah. So went to Thomas Jones. So really, So football was a language in that area. So
it definitely is.
I started playing for a five-side team on Edward Woods Estate.
What was your preferred position growing up then? Like
Always a striker.
Always a striker.
Yeah, always been a striker. Towards like youth team age in my career, a couple of games at left back, but that was only because I was the only one in the team with a left foot.
Yeah.
So always a striker really.
Who was kind of the strikers you watched when you was younger and you'd be like, I want to be like him? Yeah,
not really strikers. Although I love watching Shearer. But Gazza was my favourite player growing up. And, loved the way he played football and his character and things. So really he was him, and I liked a bit of Matt Letizia as well.
Letizia a throwback.
Yeah.
Obviously, growing up then, you were part of the Brentford Academy as a trainee. You didn't break into the first team, but I imagine it's still experience being with a club like Brentford, who now are such a big club in the Premier League.
Yeah. I didn't actually sign for them. I went there on trial, and kind of again played a couple of games left back, a couple of games as a striker, and didn't really make the grade and didn't get signed. So ended up getting released before I actually signed any papers there. So I spent a long time there. In terms of on trial for about 5 or 6 months, and then it didn't work out, and then come out of it and fell into non-league. And
you were talking about that non-league. You went to Uxbridge. What was that experience like to get that kind of first bit of senior football under your belly? What was it like?
Well, before Uxbridge, not many people noticed it was Hendon.
You went to Hendon?
Yeah, I was at Hendon. So I remember I'm coming out of Brentford and scoring lots of goals for my Sunday League team. I played in the same Sunday team as Marcus Bent, who went on and had a really good career. Yeah, Brentford took him from our team, and Hendon. I wrote letters to every non-league club.
Really?
And then, I remember sending letters out to every non-league club asking for a trial, and literally it wasn't emails back then. It was
you took a post,
putting them in the post. Yeah, putting them in the post and seeing what replies we got, and I only got 2 back, and one was Thamesmead Town, who unfortunately no longer a club anymore, and the other one was Hendon, and ended up going to Hendon and playing for their youth team in their reserve team, and then wasn't really enjoying it then. Friends were playing at Uxbridge and went to Uxbridge, and under a manager called Andy Everley, who's no longer with us unfortunately, but he was a youth team manager there and took me under his wing, and I progressed from the youth team, jumped the reserves and went into the first team.
We had a previous guest who came from Finland and Portugal who actually once sent out 300 emails during lockdown because he was that desperate to get back into football.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I know for you it was handwritten letters, it was slightly different, but I suppose that still highlights like the sort of like the I can't think of the word, how obviously much it means to you to be able to actually play for somebody.
Yeah, the hunger to want to get into it.
Exactly,
yeah, absolutely. I was desperate to play football. I remember my mum and dad going to a parents' evening, one of my last parents' evenings at school, and I wouldn't say I was struggling in my lessons, but all said he needs to focus more because I was just football crazy, and I remember my PE teacher telling him not to worry, he's going to be a footballer. So that was always what I destined to do and destined to be. So luckily I made it.
And then you moved to Northwood for a year. What was that kind of experience like? Because that's kind of a jump up from Uxbridge. What was that like? You got some pretty good stats. 70 appearances and 37 goals. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So Northwood wasn't really a jump at the time. It was a move across, really. But they were ambitious, and Uxbridge were ambitious. But Northwood had just come up and were a club everyone was talking about at the time. And I spoke to the manager, Tony Choules, and he wanted me to come across and get them some goals and hopefully progress to the next level. And I signed, and luckily the following year we won the league and went up again. So. And that's where the goals come from. And I think I scored 27 in that one season to win the league and go up.
Obviously, facilities now are a lot more modern than they used to be. But obviously, going back to 2002, 2003, that sort of spell when you were at Uxbridge and Northwood, what were the facilities like there, and did they differ from club to club?
I don't think they differ too much, if I'm being honest. You go back to Northwood, it's pretty much the same as it was when I played there, and Uxbridge has progressed quite a bit. They've done really well in getting the 3G and a lot of stuff in place, but on a whole, really, there's not really that much difference in terms of facilities. The pitches are a bit better these days through whatever technologies and ways and means there are to get the pitches up to scratch. I mean, there were some terrible pitches back in them days, but there's some terrible pitches these days. So in terms of facilities, not much difference. Not much at all.
Would you say for like younger players, it's more helpful to go down a couple of leagues just to gain that experience and then kind of move your way up back into where they want to be in like their playing career?
Yeah, I think the Jamie Vardy stories helped that.
Yeah,
in terms
100%.
of dropping into non-league. It was always seeing people turn their nose up at it a little bit and didn't want to drop into non-league, and I never had that feeling. I didn't really have the taste of being at a proper professional club because I wasn't actually signed at Brentford. So I think the Vardy stories help that, hasn't it? And people see it as a pathway now as well as dropping into non-league and making a name for yourself. And it's done him no harm. And there's been a few other success stories since as well.
As a manager, then, what sort of advice do you have to the younger audience of footballers trying to make themselves professional, trying to get to that next level? Is it obviously mental and physical sides are big parts of footballers, but do you sort of see one as a priority, or do you think it's equal? It's 50-50 mental and physical.
It's a bit of luck as well.
A bit of luck.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of luck in there. You have to be in the right place at the right time. I got my move to Dagenham through. I know from the scout at the time. Was going to watch another forward for Billericay, and I played in that game and scored 2 for Northwood against Billericay, and they took me instead. So it's just about being in the right place at the right time, working hard, and never giving up, really. I mean, I didn't turn professional till I was 22, so a lot of people would give up and think it's too late to be a professional, and it's not. You know what I mean? I made it at 22, and
it's never too late, I suppose.
Yeah, got 10 years out of it. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, you was talking about that move to Dagenham and Redbridge. They're kind of, I think, from what the research I've done, they're kind of in that promotion chase. What's it like being on the side of trying to get up the levels in the Football League?
So when I went to Dagenham, I remember the manager calling me, Gary Hill, the manager of Dagenham at the time. They were bottom half of the conference, and I was at Northwood in the Ryman Premier, which in today's money would have been the Conference South. We'd just gone up to that league and one league outside the Conference National, and he called me, and I was fitting air conditioning in a hospital, and that was my job at the time, and I didn't believe it was him and put the phone down. I thought it was one of the lads winding me up, and he called again, and then Northwood, the Northwood manager called me, Tony Choules, and said, "It is him trying to call you. They want to sign you." So I was literally fitting air conditioning on a Monday and on the bench for Dagenham and Redbridge at Gravesend and Northfleet on a Tuesday.
A big goal for you came against Aldershot Town and a big performance in the playoff push. But again, the stats don't lie. You were making a big impact here, 44 and 98. Northwood was obviously similar. Uxbridge as well, you had a high-scoring season. So you were consistently performing, even though you were actually moving up.
Yeah. When I went to Dagenham, I think I signed a contract to the end of the season. From then to the end of the season, I scored 6 in my first 8 games in the conference, and then they kind of tried to get me to sign a longer contract. So really they signed me as a bit of a gamble and give me a deal to the end of the season. And then obviously when I started scoring, like you say, the scoring, the stats were good. Started to create a bit of a name for myself then.
You kind of had a perfect scoring partner, Paul Benson, with you. What was that like to work with you and Benny? I was speaking to my dad about Dagenham and Redbridge. He went to watch them back in his day. Like, he saw you and Benson were just prolific goal scorers. What's it like having someone who's equally as goal scoring as you?
Yeah, so we had quite a few of us there. So there was Benno was there, and Craig McHale-Smith, Ben Strevens. So there was 4 of us really there that was scoring goals. So it was good competition, so we kept each other on our toes. But yeah, Benno was something else. He was a hell of a goal scorer. I mean, he went everywhere he went. He scored goals, and he scored some tap-ins, but then he scored some goals. I remember a goal against Kidderminster away from near the corner flag, and couldn't believe it went in, and he meant it as well. So yeah, he was a hell of a strike partner to play with. Although he only scored 1 when he come in his whole first season. When he come into Dagenham, he only got 1 goal, and then then I remember the second season he really took off and really scored 30 plus goals in the league. I think it was in the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
What formation were you sort of playing then? Obviously, if you've got 2 strikers who are both as prolific as each other, you want to play 2 up front, but did that differ week in, week out, or was there a set formation that you would use?
We were a 4-4-2. We were a basic 4-4-2 at Dagenham. So, it was a long ball team, 4-4-2, 2 runners up front, and
lump it up to the big man.
Yeah, lump it up, and if we didn't hold it and it went beyond us, we run after it. So, it was just about hard work, and we definitely wasn't the best team in the conference at the time, but we won it because what we had in the changing room and our work rate and endeavour.
You worked with John Steele at your time at Dagenham and Redbridge. What was it like to learn from such? If you don't know, John Steele was kind of like your lower league managers. What's he like? What was he like working with John Steele? Yeah,
a top manager. He didn't get enough credit when he was our manager. He was seen as a long ball team at the time, but he was he's a very, very good manager. Talks really well, explains what he wants. He's quite militant on the training pitch. Militant on the training pitch in what he wants and how he wants us to play, what he wants us to do. He was a top manager to play for, and old school, but tough. But he knew what he wanted.
It's important though to be militant on the training pitch and have these characters who are solid but firm. Like you look at old captains like Roy Keane, who was an absolute leader on and off the pitch as well. I think you'd rather have someone like that, wouldn't you, than a captain who's sort of afraid to speak up. Like these militant characters are actually often the reason for success at some clubs. Yeah,
absolutely. Almost every manager I've played for has been militant, and every manager I've played for has been in their own way, like tough, hard to please, character who, if you lose, he'll let you have it, and if you win, is what's expected anyway. So, important to have them sort of characters in the changing room and in and around it.
Was there any times when in that promotion, like chasing season with Dagenham, that you've gone into the changing rooms, you've not had the result you performed like you wanted, and the manager wanted to have you had like a right telling off for the manager, like?
Lots of times I've.
Was there any like ones that come to your mind?
I remember being grilled once by the manager and having a cup of sugar thrown over me, and just having sugar just stuck to my face, and not having didn't want to just sat there with sugar in my face while he was giving me a grilling. I've seen mirrors smashed in change rooms and thrown around the change room, and I've seen players fighting and things like that. So there's lots of things go on in the change room that a lot of the supporters don't see. So there's been lots of times where I've seen it.
Now, obviously, I have to say, your time at Brentford is one that sort of caught my eye quite quickly. Half my family's Brentford, half my family's Spurs, so I'm quite familiar with these names. Kevin O'Connor, Lloyd Owusu, they're big players you obviously play with. And obviously Brentford now are a well-sustained Premier League club. Back then, obviously, they were sort of chasing promotion, but they were quite unlucky often, weren't they? They would make the playoffs, and then actually 9 times out of 10, they wouldn't go up. But talk to us about your time at Brentford in West London.
Yeah, so... if I'm being honest, Brentford was the wrong move for me back then. And when I look back now, it seemed the right move at the time. I had lots of clubs in for me at the time. I was scoring lots of goals in the conference. I was out of contract, so obviously that's attractive to clubs. And I remember I had Bristol City, Bristol Rovers, Exeter, Torquay. Yeah, I went and spoke to them all. I went and met lots of clubs and spoke to them. But Brentford, I'm a London boy. Brentford were the club I wanted to go to. So yeah, I made that kind of. There wasn't offering me the best terms out of all the clubs that wanted me, but Brentford were a club I even being a QPR fan. Yeah, I wanted to go and play. I wanted to go and play for Brentford, and and when I say wrong club for me, when I walked in, they sold their best two players. Who I went in to shake the boys' hands after signing, and shook Michael Turner, centre half's hand, and he was like, "Nice to meet you, but I'm off. I've just signed with someone else." And Sam Sodji shook my hand in the change room, said, "Nice to meet you, but I'm off as well." And they were the best two players at the time. And I thought to myself then, what have I done here? But yeah, no, look, I enjoyed my time there. I didn't have a long time there, but enjoyed it. It's a bit of turmoil for the club back then, and things were up in the air, so it was a bit unsettling off the pitch. But yeah, on the pitch, enjoyed my time.
Did you feel like when you saw those two big players leaving, did you have to have the kind of the mindset that I might need to leave some of the younger boys or some of the boys out on the pitch?
Not really, because I was coming from non-league. So coming from non-league, I was coming from non-league. It was a bit overwhelming for me anyway, coming from there. So I'm jumping from the Conference National to League One. So yeah, it was. I didn't really look at it as right, I'm going to lead others. I just needed to make sure I settled in well and worked hard to get in the team and go from there, really.
I'm interested to know, though, you mentioned Sodji as well. What other sort of names do you remember playing with that were part of that group? Not obviously Turner and Sodji that left, but the players that remained during your spell.
Yeah, so there was Joe Kufor. I struck a good partnership up with him up front. I scored the winner on my league debut at Northampton, so that was that was a big moment for me. But just building a little partnership with him up front during pre-season and things, and Ollie Skulason, who'd come in from Arsenal, was with us at the time. Andy Frampton, Kev O'Connor, who's still there now. He's on the staff there now.
He is,
yeah. So, they were the types of players. Stuart Nelson, the goalkeeper. Yeah, so we had a really good side back then and some real characters. So, it was a good group to play with.
I think Frampton was fan favourite, wasn't he? He was nicknamed Framps from all the fans.
Yeah,
but I think he was one of the ones that the fans, week in, week out, were definitely a big fan of.
Yeah, they loved him. Yeah, he was a good lad as well, really good off the pitch. So, yeah, he was a popular character.
Absolutely.
There's one thing I wanted to ask you. When you're playing in those leagues and you get fans shouting and chanting, how do you kind of block yourself mentally from, because obviously it affects some players, they just can't play their game and it kind of brings it again. So what do you do to kind of, when you was playing, to cancel it out?
I didn't hear it.
Did you not?
I remember playing it, only time I did hear it was Millwall away, when I got stick for my blonde highlights, so and I had to go and warm up in front of them. So yeah, that was the only real time that and it wasn't playing, I was warming up, so I kind of, that's when I did hear it. But I remember playing Nottingham Forest away, sold out, and if you asked me what the atmosphere was like, I couldn't tell you because I was just so focused on the pitch and in doing what I needed to do and doing my job on the pitch. So yeah, in terms of hearing it, I didn't really hear too much, and except like I say at Millwall away.
Well, you mentioned Millwall away. You actually did score for Brentford against Millwall. Was that the same game or was that?
No, that was a different game. Yeah, that was a different game. So I think that was the home game. So yeah, scored against my home. That was good. Yeah,
good feeling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Were you one of the players that gives it to the away fans when you score? Or are you kind of reserved?
No, I like to celebrate when I score. Yeah, I'd like to celebrate when I score. So yeah, I remember going back to Brentford and scoring the winner for Dagenham the season after I left there. So. And I got booed when I went back to Brentford and, called all sorts. So going back to Griffin Park and scoring a winner for Dagenham at Brentford, I seem to remember celebrating a little bit in front of the Brentford fans, and being a QPR fan as well, it didn't go down too well. Yeah.
Now, obviously, with your return to Dagenham Redbridge, you had a notable game for MK Dons, Paul Ince's promotion-winning side. Obviously, Paul Ince is a big name in football as well.
Yeah.
So did you sort of have any conversations with him, or was it just like a sort of a handshake and then you move on?
Yeah, really a handshake. I didn't really have any interaction. I'm not one, even now, managing Hanwell, I don't like talking to the other team. I'm just how I am. When I'm there, I'm focused and they're the enemy. So, yeah, didn't really speak to Paul Ince. But no, I remember the game. Especially at our place, it was good. I think it was 2-2, but it was a real good game, and they were a real good side and a big side at the time. So yeah, you up your game for them.
Of course,
those games. Yeah.
So this was Dagenham's first season back in the Football League. What was that like? Did you see it on the fans' face when you played week in, week out? Did you see it on their face that they're happy to be back there?
Well, it was their first season ever.
Ever?
Yeah, it was their first season ever in the football league. So so little old Dagenham being in getting promotion to the football league was
Everything to them.
everything to them. We won the conference by, I think we had 6 games left, and we won the conference. So it was a real big moment for everyone at the club, and history was created there and then because we were playing in League Two. So it was a big time for Dagenham and Redbridge. It's a real shame to see what's happening to them now.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was a big moment getting them promoted to the league and something. I mean, we've still got a WhatsApp group with the whole squad in it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's nice. You see, you don't see
Yeah.
many players still talking to their old colleagues and stuff.
Yeah, we've still got a WhatsApp group now with all the players that won the conference back then and got promotion. So real good time in my career.
Now, towards the end, in your later sort of playing career, you had moves to Chelmsford, to Farnborough, to Wealdstone, and 2 returns to Uxbridge. So you actually Uxbridge 3 times.
Yeah.
What's it like to go back a second time? Not only a second time, then a third time. Is it welcoming, or is it like you've left us and you've gone, but then you're back again?
Yeah, no, Uxbridge is like a club really close to my heart. I had my senior debut there in football, and I've got lots of friends there. I go back there now, and I still know all the supporters, the committee members that are there now. So the chairman and things like that. So had a real good time. I come out of the full-time game, still full-time more or less at Chelmsford City, and then come out and had a year out of football. And then my mate's Wayne Carter, who's a Harrow Borough manager now. He's my best mate, one of my best mates, and he said come and play again, and I went back to Uxbridge and played. So it was just come out of the full-time game and back to Uxbridge and played, and it was good to play with my mates and really enjoyed it, and then ended up scoring goals again and getting a move to Wealdstone. Yeah.
We talked about your time at Chelmsford City. That was kind of like your last, let's say, more active season as a pro. What was it like? Because I've read you was in the Conference South and trying to get into the playoffs. What was that like? Was it like a massive group effort? Like, come on, lads, let's try and get up the places so we can try and bring some joy to this club.
Yeah. So Chelmsford City was, I'd say it was an up and coming club back then. And a manager called Jeff King took over there, and he was spending lots of money and signing lots of big name players. And I guess back then for Conference South, I was a big name player. I was playing in League Two, and they managed to get me out to go to the Conference South. They were a club that was highly ambitious and wanted to go places, and we made the playoffs that year, but lost to Hampton and Richmond in the semi-finals. Which is a big blow because we were probably one of the favourites to win the playoffs, and we didn't. It was I had a real good time there. I only had a year and a bit there, but it was a real good time, and it was a good club, and I'm sure even now, I mean, they're Conference South, but they're one of the top sides in it now, and they get up to that Conference National at some point.
You spent 2 years at Egham, and then final stint as a player was at Hanwell Town, funnily enough. Now, did you actually ever, it's a strange question, obviously one you could never answer back then, but did you ever see yourself thinking, I might manage this team one day whilst playing for Hanwell?
Yeah, no way. I had no interest in being a manager whatsoever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no interest in being a manager. So I was at Egham, and the Egham manager, Gary Meakin, was leaving. I had a year and a bit at Egham. A real good time there, real good time playing it towards the end of my career. I was getting older, getting bigger. So just wanted to, was just seeing out my playing days, enjoying playing football. And Gary Meakin, the manager, was moving on and leaving, and he asked me to go with him. And I agreed to go. He was going to Beaconsfield, and he wanted me to go as a player. So I said, yeah, I'll come with you. And I messaged the Egham chairman and just said, thanks for my time at the club. I'm just letting you know I'm moving on. And then he phoned me up and offered me the manager's job. And I had no real interest at the time. But when I thought about it, I thought, let's give it a go and see how we go. And end up managing a team.
At the time when you were thinking about not managing, what was kind of the thought process of why do I not want to be a manager? Was it just, what was it that made you?
I didn't really think about it. It's just about, I just want to continue playing for as long as I could. And even when I was at Egham, I was still scoring a few goals. So I just thought I'm just going to continue playing. So I had no real thought about the afterlife, if you like. And fell into the management once he offered it to me, and and kind of realised I enjoyed it once I was doing it, and then went from there.
Obviously, I know you actually did represent Wales internationally at semi-pro level. Now, Oliver, is this something you wanted to mention now? Was that
we can do that. We can talk about Wales. So I think that's quite a big honour to represent your country. How comes? And that's one thing I wanted to ask. How comes it was Wales and not England?
Yeah, so interesting one really, because I got selected for the England C side and got injured, and I was injured and couldn't go into the squad, and the politics of football. I believe it wasn't believed I was injured at the time, and I genuinely was, and I didn't want to travel to see the physio, so I was basically not banished from the England side, but more or less told that I wouldn't be picked again. So talking to Tony Roberts, who was a full Wales international, but was at Dagenham and Redbridge with me, he turned around to me and said, well, Seamus, you're not Welsh, you could have come to the and played in the Wales squad. And I said, funny you just say that. My grand's Welsh, and and then ended up getting selected for the Wales C side, and then ended up scoring the winner to win the Four Nations tournament again and beat England to it. So that was a sweet moment.
4 goals and 7 caps. Again, you're still scoring goals, still delivering big performances, and you scored a decisive one against Scotland in a 2-1 victory. Talk us through the goal, the celebration, everything about it.
Yeah, so that was the first game in the tournament, the Four Nations tournament that we played, and it was I just met the boys that night. Really, we had I think I had one training session I wasn't available for, and ended up going in, playing, and scoring a winner. So I remember going around the goalie and rolling it in from an angle, and kind of had all the boys come over and celebrate because it was a big goal. It was a winner for us, and that got me in with the group a little bit, and and it carried us through the tournament, and we ended up. I think I scored against England. I scored against England, and then 2 against Ireland, and ended up winning the tournament. Mm-hmm. It's good.
You played with Lee Trundle with Wales. What was it like? Because I know I've watched a couple of Lee Trundle's highlights. He's quite a good footballer. What was it like working with someone so creative, gifted as that man?
He's got skills.
He's still got it now. You see highlights of him. I think he played a couple of years back, and he's like 50, and he's just lumping it up.
He's got skills there that you didn't know are possible. And especially the small-sided games in training, he was very, very good. Tight control, he was and a real character as well.
Then we go on to the managerial side of things. So obviously, took over at Egham Town in 2017. Isthmian South side, obviously key matches, FA Cup qualifiers, league fixtures. So when you were obviously appointed, how quick was it to implement your style of play?
It was a real tough time. Because I played with the players, and then all of a sudden I was their manager. So there was I'd crossed that line, and I've gone from the clown in the change room. Anyone that's played with me tell you I was the clown in the change room with the pranks and things like that, and I was well known for it. And then Mr. Serious and being the manager, it was quite tough. And a lot of the boys that I played with, I still speak to now, and have actually said we found it really, really tough to play under you, because you've gone from having a laugh all the time to cracking the whip. And so in terms of implementing my style, managing the change room was more difficult for me than on the pitch, because I couldn't be that clown anymore, and I had to make sure the boys weren't clowning around too much, and being focused on the job in hand. So that was a real tough time for me. But I learnt lots from it, and so in terms of implementing my style, it was more the change room that I found tough than on the training pitch.
What made it tough for you? Was it because you've seen these boys and you've joked around with them, and now you've got to put this serious hat on and be like, right, you've got to do that, you've got to mark your man? Was it kind of coming into the role slowly but surely?
Coming in and telling them they're not doing their jobs, and trying to be serious with them when I would have been the one that would have been joking about usually. So they found it as tough as I did. I've spoken to them all about it, and they found it as tough as I did. So just being that, trying to be Mr. Serious.
Obviously, unfortunately, in January 2018, you were sacked after a difficult run of games. But how do you sort of find out? Is it an email? Was it word of mouth? Or can you? Because obviously, Ange at Spurs, he could see it coming 4 months before.
Yeah,
Did you see it coming, or was it a shock for you?
It was a strange one really, because we were 3 points outside the playoffs to go up to step 3. Yeah, to go up to step 3. But there was a difference with the chairman. I'll tell the story how it was. He didn't want me to pick certain players, and I picked them certain players. And,
oh right.
Yeah, and because I picked them certain players, I ended up, it just wasn't working. So, it's how I manage, and I'm the manager, I pick the team. And that was my words. If I'm the manager, I'll pick the team, and my head's on the block here. And if my head's on the block and it gets chopped off because I'm not picking the chairman's team, then so be it. That's what happened. And then, ended up getting a sack. But it was quite funny, really, because I'd been approached to be the Hanwell Town manager during that season. But I'm quite loyal, so Egham gave me my chance. So I wasn't interested in going in leaving at the time. And then obviously when what happened at Egham, then it was time to
Move on.
You obviously spoke about your differences with the chairman. Would you prefer the chairman to be a bit more like, see, I'm the manager and I want to make the... You see it with Mr. Marinakis, like he wants it to be his way. And I think with you wanted it to be, you want to start these players, but he didn't like those players. Was it a bit difficult at sometimes? Because you're, like you said, you're trying to get into the playoffs and you can't just pick the players that you think would probably give you the better chance to push yourself up into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a real tough one because, listen, the chairman's not... He's not being malicious. He sees things differently to how I saw them. So he wasn't being malicious in against these players. He just thought that other players were better. I didn't, and I thought I was right because we were 3 points outside the playoffs, and he puts a lot of time and money into the club and thought he was right. So it is a difference of opinion, and that happens all across football. And we had a difference of opinion, and when a manager has a difference of opinion with a chairman, there's probably who's putting all his money in. There's going to be one winner there, and that's why I went.
Were there any sort of like validated points as to why? Was it just a matter of maybe the players weren't performing to the chairman's sort of level, or
I don't know.
Reasons that they gave you?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just I don't think this one should be playing, and I don't think this one should be playing, and I thought one should be playing and played him, and that was it. And in terms of results were okay. We had a little bit of a blip. I think we drew 2 and lost 1 of my last games, but we were still 3 points outside the playoffs and having a real go. And for Egham to be in with a shout of going up to step 3 was
quite a big deal.
Yeah,
right?
it was a big deal. So what happened, but we all learned from it. And I've spoke to the chairman since, and it's since I've been at Hanwell, and we get on well, and I wish them all the best.
You kind of said you was a joker in the changing rooms when you was young, when you was like a player. What was, like, in your opinion, the best prank you've done? Like, what was your favourite one to do?
Oh, there's lots. I remember.
Give us a couple if you want.
Yeah, I remember putting an African snail in Sam Saunders' car, a giant
Sam
snail.
Saunders?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
in his car. and he going out to his car, and there was spinach all around his car, and a snail going around eating it all. So, Shane Blackett, centre half at the time at Dagenham, crickets, grasshoppers, and cockroaches in his bag. Yeah, they're the ones I can probably talk about. There's probably some there that, I might get myself in trouble if I mentioned.
Maybe it's best to leave those ones.
Yeah, leave them. Yeah.
But do you not get, obviously, they're harmless pranks, but is there ever a level where a senior member of the club will come in and say, maybe tone it down a bit, or I suppose because it's not actually happening on club premises, maybe it's...
I got in trouble.
I
I got in trouble for the bugs. I got in trouble for the bugs, because they were all running around the changing room and all around the building. So, the manager pulled me in and said, gone too far. So, but it was worth it to see Shane Blackett running around screaming around the changing room. Yeah.
And then obviously you spoke about your best friend Wayne Carter. How did that conversation go about moving to Hanwell with him? Did Hanwell approach you, or was it more of Wayne Carter saying, come on Chris, I've got a project here?
Well, no, it was Hanwell had approached me about being manager. Carts was my assistant. He was my assistant at Egham, and we both left Egham at the same time. I got a phone call to tell me I was no longer the manager at Egham when I had a few too many at the darts. So we were funnily enough, I was with him at the darts when I got the phone call and was told. And look, Ray Duffy had contacted me because he was stepping down as Hanwell Town manager. And he had highlighted me as the person that he thought would be best to replace him. The club agreed. So we went to meet them, and Karts and I spoke, and we spoke at length about it, and he was quite keen on being a joint manager. I wasn't too sure, if I'm being honest, at the time, because I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if joint managers work. But yeah, look, we went in as joint managers, and it worked because we ended up we got Hanwell promoted to Step 3, but probably would have done if it wasn't for COVID before then, because we were at the top of the league and second in the league with a few points off of Ware with a couple of games in hand, and then COVID come along and they cancelled the season. So yeah, look, we eventually got Hanwell up, and it worked for us at the time.
When it comes to being a joint manager, though, is it literally just 50-50, or some weeks will one of you, for example, would you take the forward foot, or is it literally just 50-50? Everything that you make the decision by has to be approved by both of you?
Yeah, it's a 50-50 thing. Sometimes we didn't agree, but we had our ways of sorting them things out. But yeah, sometimes we didn't agree on things, and I would make a decision and say, just go with me on this one, and he would, and vice versa. So there's always a couple of things we didn't agree on, but most of the time we agreed on most things. It wasn't too difficult.
If you didn't agree on something, how would you come to like a resolution of how, say, he wanted to start someone up front, but you didn't quite think he could maybe score a goal for you today? What was that like, having that discussion with Wayne?
Sometimes it was toss a coin. Sometimes
Really?
it's toss a coin and just say, look, which one do we go with? And that sounds crazy, but sometimes it was, sometimes it's just, look, I'm just going to go with you on this one. I don't agree with you, but I'll go with you on this one, and we both back it if it works and if it doesn't work. So yeah, sometimes it was just rock paper scissors.
Whoever wins, won.
Yeah, whoever wins, and their players playing, and look, it worked. It worked for us, and we were good at what we done together.
Obviously, you mentioned the win over Chertsey. That's probably the biggest game in Hanwell's history. Now, obviously, so much happens in those sort of days, like the excitement, the sort of like anticipation before the game. Talk us through like when the day arrives.
Yeah, it was I remember we won on the Wednesday in the semi-final against Bedfont, and your training days at this level, the level we're at football, is Tuesdays, Thursdays. So we played on a Wednesday, and we knew we wasn't going to train on the Thursday, so we had to have a chat with the boys and say, look, the final Sunday needs you all in Saturday. So we got all the boys in on a Saturday, and we had a couple of the local masseurs come in and give the boys a massage and just prepare them for a game, and just had a chat with them about what the season's come down to now, and till to tomorrow, make sure you look after yourselves. And then we got to the Sunday, and it was a bit of a blow, really, because Sam Saunders, who had played a huge part in our win on the Wednesday night, his little one was getting christened on the Sunday, so he was unavailable for selection on the Sunday.
Jeez.
So, and there's no way you're going to get someone to move their christening.
No, of course not.
I wouldn't imagine it would have gone down too well with his missus if he tried. So that was a blow, but it gives someone else an opportunity to play. Look, we went into the game and 1-0. I think we went 1-0 up early from Dwayne Duncan, and then I remember the referee afterwards, speaking to him afterwards, said he had 5 seconds left on his watch when they equalised at the end of the game. Yeah.
Wow.
So for it to go 1-0 at the end of the game and just zap the
atmosphere,
energy and everything out of the boys. You see, if you watch it on YouTube now, you see the boys drop to the floor and they can't believe it, and that trying to pick them up in that team talk at the end of going into extra time was probably the toughest one I've had so far, because I couldn't speak, Karts couldn't speak, and if you know the pair of us, you know that's
Hard to
very,
say.
very rare.
Yeah.
So we could hardly speak, and we had Kells, who was our coach at the time. So 3 of us trying to rally the boys again, and then we went into extra time, and they scored pretty soon in extra time. We go 2-1 down. Then we had someone sent off.
Oh my goodness.
And then we've had to put our midfielder in at right back and our right back over to left back, and
reshuffle completely.
Yeah, had to really, really reshuffle, and that's when you look in the whites of the boys' eyes and in the half time and extra time and say, look, we need to go. This is your season. We've got 15 minutes left of your season, and look, we went out and equalised and scored a winner as well.
What a feeling that must be.
Yeah, crazy.
Especially after the red card.
Yeah.
Like going 2-1 down. Obviously, you were leading 1-0. If that 5 seconds if it hadn't been 5 seconds, you would have been up already.
Yeah.
But yeah, that feeling must be surreal.
If I could go back, I'd live it exactly the same again, because the feeling of going back. But yeah, it was a crazy, crazy day, and still talked about now. And I mean, a wall collapsed on our supporters at the time, and they all crashed through the wall, and we still talk about them now, seeing all the supporters at the bottom of the pile, and one of the lads' mums were at the bottom of the pile, and he was trying to dig her out. Yeah, so yeah, it was a real crazy
Experience.
day. Yeah, really. Yeah, and even our president was on it. Went over the wall as well. So a few committee members in there. So yeah, it was limbs, as they say.
Literally limbs.
Yeah.
Are you one of those managers? Because you see with Amarim during like penalty shootouts, he can't really watch penalties. Do you watch the penalties, or are you kind of you don't really look?
Yeah, no, I watch them. I get really nervous. Although I don't like to give that away. I watch them all, and if you watch me manage on the sideline, I'm quite lively, jumping up and down all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I live every moment, and yeah, including the penalties.
It's important though for managers to be excited, and obviously like the thing I noticed when Andrew's at Spurs was that he's hands in his pockets, he just looks at the floor. Like if you score, he's emotionless. If you concede, he's emotionless. So I don't agree with that in a manager. So I think what you were trying to do at Hanwell, Egan, whether it was a short spell, is definitely the way forward for a manager.
Yeah. I believe the energy sometimes, if the lads are lacking energy, you can give it to them from the bench. So if you ever come, you said you've been to a few Hanwell games. If you come to any of the Hanwell games, you see me. I'm running about the technical area, and if you got a GPS vest on me, I'll probably work as hard as the boys, running up and down and jumping up and down. I head everything, kick everything, and say a few choice words, and get in lots of trouble with referees and linesmen.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times at Hanwell. There's one game I had in mind. It was Woodstock. You just had Woody. You just shouting him, absolutely obliterating him.
Yeah.
And I've seen it a couple of times. You run up and down the pitch. You're kicking. You're having ref. Like I like those managers that give it, and like they're not. If something doesn't go their way, they don't complain. Like you have to give it. Like
like I said, I live every moment, and some players can't handle that. Some players leave because of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Has anyone ever left during your time because of it?
Yeah, I would imagine so. I'd imagine people have left because of it. They haven't had the guts to say to me, but yeah, no, I would imagine there's players left because of it. But that's how I am, and the lads like Woody knows, has been with me 6 or 7 years now, so he knows what I'm like, and I'll be the first to take a drink. I won't buy him a drink. Take a drink off him in the bar and have a drink with him. But it takes a special character to play for me, I guess.
Obviously, we can't see the future, and if we did, I imagine we would like to, right? But when Hanwell does eventually come to a close, what's next for you? Would you like to be another club? Would you like to be at Hanwell for as long as you can, or have you got anything else in mind?
I've always wanted to manage as high as I can. Once I've got into it, I want to manage as high as I can, and same as my playing career. I always wanted to play as high as I can, and one thing I did learn from my playing career is once I made it to League One with Brentford, did I work hard enough to get to the next level? No, I don't think I did. I think I thought I've made it, and that was it. And so in terms of my managerial career, is manage as high as I can and see where it takes me, and whether that be with Hanwell, and as I've always said to the committee at Hanwell, as long as your ambition matches my ambition and you keep wanting to progress, then I'm enjoying my time here and I love the club, and I love everyone there, and it's a fantastic club to be at. And I'll be there as long as they're matching my ambition. But if something bigger and better comes along, then I'd listen to it because I'm ambitious myself and want to manage it as high as I possibly can.
You talked about managing. Would you ever want to go abroad and manage, or would you rather stay in England? Because we've had a couple of people, they want to move abroad and do some coaching abroad. Would you want to do it abroad?
I wouldn't say abroad, managing wise. I had a couple of chances in my career to play abroad, but I didn't take them. And managing abroad, I'm not sure.
Why not? Is it
crazy Englishman jumping up and down on the sideline would go down too well? Look, I'm happy here at the moment. It's not something I see myself doing, managing abroad. But you never say never in football. You never know.
You never know, and that's what I think we sort of perceive for you. You've seen it all in your footballing career, whether it be playing, managing, from putting ants in people's bags, like all the bugs, like you said. But last one from me then, I asked this to all our guests that come on. Does 6-7-year-old you look at where you are now and proud of what you've achieved, whether it's on the pitch or in the technical box?
Yeah, I think so. Very proud because hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that want to be a professional footballer that don't make it. And I made it. So in terms of having a career in professional football, is something I'm immensely proud of. And like I say, could I have gone further? Probably. And people that played with me always say to me, like, if I speak to them now, you could have done if you focus more. So if I'm giving advice to myself then, it'd have been like, don't think you've made it when you think you've made it, work harder. But look, I've been a professional footballer and I'm doing quite well at the management side of things at the moment. So, definitely proud. But there's lots more to do.
And then the last one for me, we asked the England goalkeeper coach, who's the next upcoming goalkeeper for England. I want to ask you, who do you think England should put as their main striker for the World Cup this next summer?
Only one answer, surely, Kane.
Do
you think Harry Kane? I was talking to the boys. I mean, I think Harry Kane, he does have that bit. He can score goals, don't get me wrong. But he does let them down a bit because he doesn't really chase after the ball. He's more up there.
Harry Kane for me, he's the best striker in the world, and he's he's goal scoring at the moment. How can you overlook him? Harry Kane for me. If he's not up front for England in the World Cup, England are in trouble. So he needs to be.
Couldn't agree more, Oliver.
No, I mean, I think Ollie Watkins has a bit of a statement to make as well.
Yeah, no, Ollie Watkins is a good striker. I just think Harry Kane is at the moment, like I say, especially with his goal scoring record, I don't think you could look further than him.
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for coming on, Chris. We always end the podcast with a handshake, so I'm going to handshake you.
Thank you very much.
And then you two.
Across the table. Yeah, thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Oliver,
coming on, Chris.
Handshake.
Oh, Harry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching, guys, and make sure to keep on socials for any updates.